Hello, thank you for joining today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Matthew. Today we begin that study right in chapter 1, verse 1. Go ahead, open up your Bibles when you get a chance. Go ahead and read from verse 1 all the way through verse 17. There you'll get an idea of what we're talking about, and you'll see that it is the genealogy of Jesus. We're going to start in verse 1. Verse 1 says this: The record of the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. And it seems like something short and simple, and it is, but there's a lot to understand here. So first, remember, we spoke about yesterday that Jesus is writing to Jewish folk, Jewish believers. And so we see here that he mentions Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. So what's he doing there? Well, the son of Abraham will work backwards. The son of Abraham, as he says that, he's pointing all the way back to the father of the faith, of the Jewish faith. And as we look all the way back there, we see that God makes a covenant with Abraham back in Genesis chapter 12. Part of that covenant is that God would give Abraham a land, that he would give them descendants, but then finally he would give them a blessing, that Israel would become a blessing. And here, what Matthew's pointing out is that as son of Abraham, Jesus is going to be the fulfillment of that part of the covenant, of the blessing. Because in that covenant, it says that all families will be blessed through them. And so here comes Jesus, out of the son, one of the sons of Abraham, through whom all families will be blessed. So Matthew is pointing that out to the Jewish folk. He also calls him the son of David. Now, recognize that back then, the understanding of son of David was that the son of David would be this king who would reign forever. Another name for him is Messiah, and that's what Jesus, that's also here. It says Jesus the Messiah, or Jesus Christ. Christ is the Greek term for the Hebrew term Messiah. So Christ means Messiah. Messiah means anointed one. So Jesus is the anointed one. And when we talk about the son of David, what we're talking about there is that Jesus is the son of David, the anointed one, who will be king over all, who will rule and reign forever and ever. The Jewish people were looking for that Messiah. The Jewish people had, from all the way back, from Abraham on, were looking for that person through whom all families would be blessed, from whom we would get this king who would reign and rule over all the world forever and ever. And so the Jewish people were looking for that. And Matthew, right here at the beginning of his gospel, right here, the first line he writes, he's pointing out that that is who Jesus is. He is the Christ, the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. And so as we recognize that, it's important for us to look back at the beginning of the sentence. And Matthew starts with the record of the genealogy of Jesus. And that's what we read in English. And most of our translations say either the record or the book. And it talks about the genealogy. And when we look at that, we understand that immediately after this comes this long genealogy of Jesus. It's one of two genealogies we have in the Bible. But an interesting thing is, if we look at the Greek, and remember we were talking about the early church fathers believed that Matthew might have been written in Hebrew or in Aramaic. But here's a great example of why many believe that it was probably written in Greek, because in the Greek, when we look at this, the first two words of Matthew's gospel is Biblios Genesios. In other words, the book of Genesis. And what we see here is that in the Greek, it looks like Matthew is pointing us back to the beginning of the Hebrew scriptures, the book of Genesis, where God is the creator of all things. God creates the universe. God creates man and woman. God creates the nation of Israel. And so we see that God is the creator and starting many things. And Matthew here is pointing out that Jesus is that same thing. That here, as he writes about Jesus, he's going to be writing about new beginnings, about a new people, about a new creation. And so here, when we look at Biblios Geneseos, we recognize that he's talking about the book of Genesis. He's pointing us back to the beginnings, and he's telling us that here is a new beginning. Jesus is a new beginning. And so he starts his message, he starts his gospel with that. And it's a tremendous understanding that we don't see in the English, but we see in the Greek. So with that, we'll start tomorrow with the actual genealogy of Jesus, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But for today, we start out with understanding that Matthew's view of Jesus is that he is the Messiah, that he is the one through whom all families will be blessed, and that he is the new beginning, that a new creation was going to happen through Jesus. And we call that the church, obviously. So with that, thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, comments, or thoughts, go ahead and put them in the comment section below. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and God bless you.